Hi, Maddie. I'm making applesauce.
Welcome to our video on how to can applesauce. This is the Cook Family Homestead, and we're going to show you how to use a food strainer to make applesauce. Other things you can make with this strainer are pear sauce, tomato sauce, baby foods, jellies, anything that you want to puree. But today we're going to do applesauce, and I'm going to show you how we do that. Okay, so here is our bushel of apples. We already cut some up, so that's why the box looks a little empty. These are Cortland apples. So we got these from a local farm. We do have some trees out in our field, but they aren't producing apples quite yet because they're still too young. But in a few years we'll have our own. So Cortlands are our favorite, and my daughter cut up our first batch. So she just cut them up and filled up a big stock pot with apples pieces. They can have their seeds in them still, they can have their skins on them, and what I do is I probably put about an inch of water on the bottom of that pan, and we're going to cook them down until they're nice and soft, and I will show you what they look like when they're ready to pour into the strainer. Okay, here's Hannah. She is going to cut up a second pot of apples. It's nice to have one, at least two going at the same time, so when one's done the other one can still be cooking. So once the other one's done cooking, we're going to put this one on the stove and take the other one off. So she's going to cut them up and just stick the pieces in this pot. And when the pot's full, we'll probably fill the bottom of the pot with water. You can also use apple juice, or apple cider is a good one if you want more flavor. I don't add any sweeteners to my applesauce, so we just use water from our water filter, just so I know it is sugar-free and there's nothing added to our water, or our applesauce, except water. So we will show you the next step when we get to it. Okay, so the first pan of apples is cooked down, so it looks kind of like mush. So you want it like that so it can go through the strainer. It's super, super hot, so if you have little kids helping, this might not be a good time for them to be close by, because it can splatter a little bit. So we're going to pour it into the bowl at the top. Okay, once you get some of that in, then you're going to take the part that pushes it down, and you're going to turn this handle while you're pushing it through the hole. You're just going to push it down and so it goes down into the strainer part. And it'll be a little watery at first just because it's catching some of the water that was in the pan, but it will thicken up as you go. Now this part can splatter as well, and it's really hot, so just be careful.
I'm zooming out.
Tape that part right there. And you're just going to keep doing that until you have all your sauce. As you can see at the end, you can see the yucky stuff, well, the part that you're trying to discard that you don't want in your applesauce, it comes out at the end, and that will go into the bowl. We'll probably feed that to the chickens. They'll like that. It's good chicken food. Okay, so here is our pot of applesauce. It's full of just applesauce with a little bit of water. That's all it is. It's all natural. And these are Cortland apples. Now there is other ways that you can make applesauce if you don't have a food mill. You can also just peel, core them, make sure all the seeds out, and you can boil them that way, and you can also put them in a food processor to get to this point. We used our food mill, which really takes out lots of steps, which is nice. So you're going to need a funnel, and I have my quart jars, or these are my pint jars. I have pints, and I have them filled with steaming hot water since I don't have a dishwasher, and it just works really well. I keep my lids and my seals, or my rings, also in steaming hot water, so everything's hot when you put the hot applesauce in it. I do put this on the stove and get it warm, or actually pretty boiling hot before I put them in the jars. So I have two funnels. I like this one because it tells me the headspace. You want your applesauce to be about a ½ inch of headspace at the top of your jar. If you wanted to use quart jars, it would be the same. These are just pints. I'll probably do a few quart ones later. So you want it to be about a ½ inch headspace. And if you need to take some out, you can scoop some out if you need to. That funnel is kind of nice because it does have the headspace on it. Let me get a spoon so I can take some more out since I filled mine a little too high. So that's about a ½ inch right there. So take your funnel out. You want to make sure that you wipe off the top so there's no applesauce on it or it won't get a very good seal. It's got to be clean. I take one of my warm or hot lids in my rings. Screw that on fairly tight and put it in our water bath canner. I can fit about 7 of these in there, and once I get 7 in there, I'll show you what to do next. You're going to want to process them for about 20 minutes. Okay, so we have 7 pint jars in our water bath canner. So what we're going to do is now we're going to lower it into the water, and it needs to be about 1.5 to 2 inches above the jars, the water level does. And we're going to put the lid on, and we're going to let the water come to a full boil. Now it takes 20 minutes for them to process, but you can't start the processing time until the water is at a full boil. So we're going to cover this up and turn our temperature on medium to high, which it is. It's about 7.5 to 8. And then once it comes to a full boil, we will start the timer for 20 minutes. Okay, so 20 minutes is over. Remember, it has to boil for a full 20 minutes. When the timer's up, you want to be able to lift these up out and hook them up on the side so the canning jars can cool down. Now, once they cool down, I'd say, after 15 or 20 minutes or so, you can take these jars out. I have these nice jar lifters, which they're real handy because the jars are very hot and there is water on top. So even if you used a pot holder, the pot holder would get wet because there's still water on top of the jars. So when you lift them up out of the water bath, you can I turn it so I pour all the water off, and then I would just set them on a towel. And after a few hours, or it could be right away or hours later on the counter, you'll hear popping sounds, which is telling you that it's making a seal on the jars, so that means they sealed. And then once they're all cooled down, you can write your date on the top and you can store it for a few years. So that's how you can applesauce. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Cook Family Homestead and Homestead on a Budget. God bless. I'm Sebastian.
I'm Daddy.
Say, let's make applesauce. Say, God bless you. Bye.
Bye.